For today's video, I wanted to talk about a completely different topic. The topic on hand or at hand has really pissed me off, to be perfectly honest with you, and Warner Brothers has forced my hand to talk about this issue, which it is just ludicrous, to be perfectly honest. Now, this video is not going to be this highly edited type of video, but rather just me talking about this whole situation and how utterly terrible the management and the executives over at Warner Brothers are, and why they should be ashamed and rightfully afraid of not just Zack Snyder and Ray Fisher, but Zack Snyder's Justice League, with Ray Fisher at the helm, or being the heart of the film in general, because that movie, when it comes out in March this year, is going to be a force to reckon with. It's going to force not just Warner Brothers to change, but Warner Media to change the leadership over at Warner Brothers, to have a few layouts here and there, quietly reshuffling the package behind the scenes. He just changed the whole regime over at Warner Brothers because the out of touch executives who didn't want Zack Snyder's Justice League to come out in the first place, and this should tell you a lot. First things first, just to give you a bit of a history lesson type of situation, but no Darksider Steppenwolf here. Back in 2017, around May, I believe, Zack Snyder was, announced that he stepped down from Justice League. And the funny thing is, now, the media around the time actually said that he stepped down and he handpicked whatever guy that he wanted to do, and now we have learned that it was never the case with that. And even, I would say, that Zack Snyder was fired from Justice League, because the production would, of course, still went on, and the movie, or Justice League, the movie released in November. So first things first, if the studio was really behind Zack, they would have pushed the movie to next year and would have given Zack time to be with his family and to get to the shape to work on the film again. But they did not, of course, because why would they? Because art doesn't mean anything to these executives. And then came the Ben Affleck stuff, which was just so long on the water. Is Ben going to direct his own movie? Is he in as Batman? Is he out as Batman? That saga has been dragging for 1 or 2 years after Justice League came out. And then, of course, we have learned that Robert Pattinson is going to be the new Batman, with Matt Reeves directing the movie. But even though during the reshoots of 2017's Justice League, they knew at the time that Ben is not going to do his movie, because they reshot the end credits scene with Deathstroke and Lex Luthor, where instead of Lex Luthor paying or asking Deathstroke to hunt down Batman, he asks him about the Legion of Doom. And of course that just basically blew Ben's movie out of the water. And then now the big thing with Ray Fisher, as he was essentially fired from the Flash movie because he spoke out against the out-of-touch executives over at Warner Brothers and their treatment of him and basically everybody on set of the Justice League reshoots. And now I feel like that the biggest problem with Warner Brothers, or not necessarily with Warner Brothers, but when it comes to the DC side of Warner Brothers, is that they have absolutely no idea what they're talking about. And in my previous video, I have talked about why the DCU needs Zack Snyder back, as when he was at the helm, there were actually things that we could get excited for. And this has not been the case ever since he left the picture. What are we gonna be excited for? The new Batman? I mean, it looks amazing, to be honest. It looks really cool, but it's just going to be a Batman movie. It's not going to be this interconnected big universe that we could watch for the years and years to come. But the studio have, ever since Zack left the picture, have tried to reboot the DC Cinematic Universe, the DC Extended Universe on the big screen. The first attempt was Justice League, where it so blatantly failed that they were like, okay, we have to do something, but we shouldn't do anything radical, so therefore they just stuck to their one random movie here, one random movie there, we don't have a plan. So they just basically said that they just don't have anything substantial at hand ever since Zack left the picture. And there were rumors coming out in around 2018 when Wonder Woman 84 was shooting that it is going to be a Flashpoint type of adventure or Flashpoint type of movie for the DCEU. Now, at the time, everybody was thinking that this would reset the whole universe like Flashpoint did, but the thing is, what the rumor actually meant about that movie was that, as now we have seen the movie, it really harkens back to that Richard Donner style of hope and optimism, which really doesn't fit. Not necessarily, not just with the character, but the whole movie itself. It was all over the place. And it clearly showed that a certain ex-executive of DC Films and the writer of the movie was so adamant that he wanted to make Zack Snyder's universe his own that he spread these rumors about that this is going to be the big reboot of the DCEU, even though people didn't really like Wonder Woman 84 for that reason, that it was all over the place and it was tonally inconsistent. It's basically like Justice League 2.0. And even the funny thing is that when that certain producer and writer left the picture, the Snyders came in and actually tried to help Patty Jenkins to fix Wonder Woman 84 to a salvageable or at least enjoyable movie. And of course, you could clearly see that there were two forces at play. Truth to be told, those two attempts, like Justice League and Wonder Woman 84, they didn't work for the studio. Because the studio is thinking like, we are going to give you something and you should like that thing that we give you. And that was the thing with Justice League, and this is why Warner Brothers, not Warner Max or Warner Media, was not involved with the Justice League stuff, with Zack Snyder's Justice League. Because even if you harken back to it, there was a fluff piece that came out on 2020, May 20th, which included a lot of Warner executives, namely Toby Emmerich, who was vehemently against the Snyder Cut, because let's be perfectly honest here. If the Warner Brothers people, executives, whatever, were pro-Snyder Cut supporters, they would have never hired Joss Whedon and let a certain individual do his bidding in order to make the film. They would have let Zack mourn and be back for the film, and they would have pushed the film. And that clearly showed that they don't give a damn about any creative individuals whatsoever. They just want to push these things out because they just want to make money, and they don't care about anybody other than that. And even in that article, it said that Toby Emmerich called Zack Snyder, which is weird in and of itself. But then again, the attempts at reducing Zack Snyder's role within the film came with the name changes that the film actually faced, or Warner Brothers was trying to change the title of the film from Zack Snyder's Justice League to Justice League Director's Cut, or even to Justice League the Snyder Cut. And this is basically, it just harkens back to the fact that they don't want Zack Snyder's name on it, and they don't want to admit that they were wrong, because let's take a clear look at this. If the movie is called Zack Snyder's Justice League, that means it's a whole new thing, right? And if you have followed the movie, you know that 12 to 24 minutes of footage is in the theatrical cut or Justice League, and the Snyder Cut is 4 hours long. So therefore, you have more than 3.5 hours of unseen footage in the movie. That's not a director's cut. That's a completely different film. And this is why Zack wanted to rebrand the film into Zack Snyder's Justice League. And that's the reason why the Warner people or the Warner executives didn't want to do that. Because it would highlight how wrong they were when they released that product. I don't even know how you can call that a product or a movie. This would further just point out that they were utterly wrong, and this is why this whole fiasco with Justice League Director's Cut and the Justice League, the Snyder Cut stuff was happening throughout last year, is because they didn't allow Zack to even have that much amount of creative freedom when it comes to that. And the biggest reason, of course, or one of the other reasons, is that Zack Snyder's Justice League is going to have a theatrical run. Now, at first, of course, it seemed like it was going to be something of a video on demand release or HBO Max release. But as it turned out, Zack actually said that his preferred version of the movie is the IMAX black and white version. Now, if he wants fans to see the IMAX version of a film, that means that it's going to be in theaters, right? And now who's going to distribute it? Probably Warner Brothers. And even that they wouldn't give him to call the movie Zack Snyder's Justice League. And now they have fired Ray Fisher for basically calling them out and enabling certain individuals and appointing people who allow abuse on the set of these films because they just don't care about this stuff. And I believe that it has to change. There is no other way around it. And to just give you a brief example, it reminded me, this treatment of the fans have reminded me of what Disney did with Star Wars after The Last Jedi dropped, that they basically allowed the creative individuals associated with the film and their employees to harass the fans and talk down to them basically and treat them like garbage. And I feel like that we as fans, we as paying customers deserve so much better than this just because we don't agree with a certain product that you have put on the market. That doesn't mean that we are terrible people, right? Just because you don't agree with a certain individual about a certain thing, that doesn't mean that he or she is a terrible individual. I mean, I know that in social media nowadays this is the Bible that how things go. This should not be something that we subscribe to. This is a terrible behavior and it only forces you to live your life in a bubble. Or of course, executive thinks otherwise because instead of giving you Zack Snyder's Justice League, they give you Justice League in the first place. So therefore, it is absolutely clear that not just that they don't respect creative individuals, but they don't give a damn about the fans as well who love those creative individuals. To just give you a bit of a bottom line here, I think studios like Warner Brothers and even just Disney, they have to stop treating the fans or your paying customers as garbage. Because the fans deserve so much better than this. And the actors and the creative individuals, the directors deserve so much better than what you give them. And to just give you a bit of a closing quote from one of my favorite pieces of media, that being God of War, do not be sorry. Be better. Thank you so much for watching this video. I know this was something kind of out of the ordinary for me, but I really wanted to get this off my chest for just to talk to you guys about this topic. But what do you think? Do you think that this firing of Ray Fisher was justified? What do you think the next steps for not just Warner Brothers executives, but for studio executives and Hollywood? What's going to be the next step in that department? I would love to hear your thoughts down in the comments down below. Subscribe for more. And yeah, that's all for today. Thank you for watching, and remember to keep it insightful, and I'll see you in the next one.